Last week, I was scrolling through YouTube and saw that Bill from Bill Making Stuff had posted a Big Bot Bash 2, the second one. And it was a collaboration with a bunch of other really talented makers and builders here on YouTube. Now, I'm not part of the official collaboration this year, but I was very much inspired to build my own Big Bot Bash. So, Bill, if you're watching this, I would love to join you all next year, and here is my application. I start by downloading the JunkBot generator. I will leave a link in the description to where you can get one of these from Bill. Basically, you roll a d20, you have 6 different categories, and you use the inspiration that you get from each category. Now, with this, I did some math, and it works out to 6 different wheels, 20 options each. There are 64 million unique combinations that you can get using the JunkBot generator, which is absolutely insane. So for me, here's what I got. Body, heavy smoker, head, hot, arms, knuckle dragger, hands, grip, legs, pistons, and flavor, dirty. Let's get started. Starting with the head, I'm using some old bottle caps, and I'm going to just glue them together into this head kind of shape. A bit of EVA foam will help the eye stick on better. Speaking of the eye, here it is. It's the base off of some little like oil filter thing I had. I'm going to use the tube off this spray bottle to make exhaust ports coming from his head, because his head is hot, so there's going to be some fumes coming out of there. Just adding a few more exhaust ports, just for good luck and good heat exchange. This is the cap off of one of those concentrated energy drink things, and I'm going to use it to make some gnarly teeth. I also use it to make a kind of back mullet thing. For the body, I'm using this vanilla extract container, something like this. And I'm going to bulk it out with a bit of 5mm EVA foam and some greeblies. For the hands, I start with this little chunk of wood, drill some holes in it for the fingers and the arm, and then I have some wire here, which will become the fingers. Using beads, I make the fingers. This is very much inspired by Bill. I just ran out of my really thin super glue there, so I have to use my thicker stuff for now. These are the caps off of a Gatorade tablet, and I'm going to use them glued together to make the hips. I also found some of these bamboo straws at the thrift store, and I think they will make really good pistons for the legs. Some of them even fit together with a bit of sanding. Some more beads for joints, and I'll use my Dremel to get that curved shape so the beads sit flush. And I'm making my legs digitigrade legs, sort of like a bird or a dog. and more pieces of wood for the feet. And to really make sure that I keep to that pistons inspiration, I'm adding more pistons. And the legs are done. For the neck, I'm using this squeezable applesauce lid, and I'll just glue the head right in place. For the arms, I have some wire again, it goes all the way through, beads for the joints, and some styrene tubes for the main parts of the arm. Then using some thin EVA foam, I start to bulk up the arms with some armor. And I'm just adding some more greeblies and caps and things to bulk up those hands. These are little dollar store fire truck ladders, and I'm going to use them on the upper parts of the arms. Some more caps. And some gardening wire to add some more details. These could be like hydraulic tubing or wiring. It's up to the imagination. I'm working on the large exhaust ports on the back. Again, this is just some styrene tubing and some greeblies. And now I glue the top and bottom half together. I didn't quite like how the chest was turning out, so I bulked it up using these pipe pieces. And now I'm just adding some rivets. And this tool I'm using is a wax-tipped pen, and it's used specifically for putting rhinestones on like this. Now I take it outside and I use my soldering iron to burn in some battle damage and just wear and tear. And everything gets a nice sand with my wire brush. This just helps all the paint stick as well as it can. I'm gonna try this modeling paste as some texture. I knew this whole thing was gonna be really dirty, so I started early by adding some texture that I was hoping would translate as dirt and grime later on. The whole thing gets coated in a flat black matte primer, and then I can move on to dry brushing. For dry brushing, I use this silver nickel acrylic paint, And I use makeup brushes because they're really soft and dense, and they give a good dry brush coat. These are the main colors I'm going to use. I didn't actually use the gray a whole lot, but the white and the yellow for sure. Now I paint a lot of it white first because I know from past experience that the yellow doesn't go onto the black surface very well. It's very hard to see. So anything I want yellow, I have to paint white first. I liked how the pipe made it look like the robot had ribs, and so to add to that, I built this little sternum collarbone combo and added it on a little later. Now I can finally start painting yellow, and as you can see, it really pops with that white underbase. And as I was starting to paint this yellow, the story and background for this robot really started to come together. I think this is an excavator bot. Just like you would see a modern day Caterpillar or Cat brand excavator, and they're all yellow and black. This is an excavator of the future. They're humanoid, have these really big hands for digging and moving boulders, and it has a large internal engine. And in my case, my robot was sent to a very rainy planet, a planet that rains almost every day of the year. So he's constantly covered in mud and dirt, and it's very hard to clean. And because there's so much water and rain and dirt and mud all up in his joints, the engine inside has to work twice as hard. So it produces a lot of heat and a lot of smoke. I'm using a black paint pen to bring out some of the details that were lost in all that yellow paint. Ooh, look how clean and bright he is. Well, that's not gonna last. I rolled dirty, so let's get this guy covered in dirt and mud. First, I start with a wash. This is a mix of brown and black acrylic mixed with isopropyl alcohol. You can also use water, but I use alcohol because it dries a bit quicker and allows me to move on to the next steps. But basically, I just cover the entire thing with this wash, and then I'll come in with a tissue and dab away some of the excess. I add a dark muddy paint color to the hands and feet where he would be the most dirty from knuckle dragging his hands across the ground and walking through all that mud. For the base, I'm keeping it simple. This is a craft store picture frame thing, 1-inch piece of XPS foam, and I'm going to texture it using that modeling paste. For the smoke, I'm using this armature wire and this polyester batting. And basically all I do is I tear off a chunk, roll it into kind of a ball shape, and then I will glue it onto the wire. And I just repeat this step over and over again, moving down the wire, adding smaller pieces of batting as I go down. And eventually you are left with something like this, which then you can hit with some black spray paint, just sprayed from the top, and it really adds a lot. I made little tiny tufts to come out of his head, and then the big ones are glued in using some hot glue. Finally, I glue it to the base with some pins, and with that, it's done.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
Man, that royalty-free music slaps. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still here, you're some of the brave few who stick around to the very end. Thanks to Bill for making the JunkBot generator. I had a blast building this. As always, I will leave links in the description to all the tools and materials I used during this video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, put them down in the comment section. Consider liking, consider subscribing. I have plenty more videos like this on my channel. Again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.